Welcome in to the Dirty Pocket. Good to have you. I am Stacy Bauman, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, the scout, Daniel Kelly. Daniel, how are we this week? We're about to...
Hey, I'm hanging in the pocket. That's what I'm doing.
And it's dirty.
It is. You know, it's some weeks are better than others. There's ups and downs in life, as we all know, to our listeners. And I tell you what, when you're trying to reach for the, you're trying to reach outer space without a space shuttle, it can be challenging at times. That's what I'm trying to do with trying to become an NFL general manager. It's so it's people say it's impossible, but guess what? I don't believe in the word impossible. I think impossible is just a word in the dictionary. So I keep reaching for the stars, and I don't have a rocket, I don't have a spaceship, but I know I'm going to get there.
All right. I love it, man. That's great spirit. And yeah, it's always such a weird time of year, isn't it? I mean, we got Halloween here coming up, and
everything. Holidays are almost here. Christmas candy's out at the pharmacy, at the CVS store. They got that down in Key West here. They got Christmas candy over the place. I just had a chocolate Santa the other day on my my break. I mean, it's that time of the year. You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the season will be over. The Super Bowl will be here. You know, I tweeted last week, Stacy, the NFL season. I don't know about you, but the NFL season always seems to go way too fast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's like I remember when I was a kid, because growing up a big fan of the Washington Redskins, I used to keep a countdown chart on my bedroom closet of how many days the next Redskins game. I would actually figure it out when the last game happened, and I'd go around school telling kids, hey, it's only 227 days that the Redskins play again, and they look at me like I'm nuts, like everyone always does to this day. But nonetheless, I mean, it seemed painstaking. It seemed like every day was about 48 hours or 72 hours, but once the season comes, then it seems like everything, it's like someone hits fast forward or something. You know, I mean, it's just like all of a sudden, boom, it's week 7. Boom, it's week 8. Oh, hey, who's in the playoffs? You know, it just goes so fast.
Man, you nailed it. It's crazy. We're sitting here at the end of week 7. And it's just made worse, right? We got Thursday night games, we got Sunday games, we got Monday night, which, by the way, as a football fan, none of us are complaining, but it's all of a sudden it's just racing by. Yeah, it crossed my mind today. We're like 90 days out for starting to prep this show for 2022 NFL draft with Daniel Kelly. I mean, that's like 90 days away.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
And don't forget, Stacy, in December we're going to have Saturday NFL games too.
Yeah. No,
I remember wrapping presents one year, and there was Saturday games on. I mean, all the way from the time I was a kid. So you're going to have it almost every day of the week.
Yeah. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. We're ramping up for Halloween and candy. Then we're ramping up for turkey and watching the Lions get
and turducken, like John Madden used to bring out to the Remember that turkey with 8 legs?
Oh, yeah. God, great memories, man.
He would circle it with his telestrator, be like, boom, there goes the chicken leg, and then, boom, blap. You know, the guy, he's chewing it up, you know. I love John Madden.
That guy. Me too. I miss that guy.
Nothing like him. Nothing like him and Pat Summerall.
Amen, man. Good memories. I do like Louis Riddick, subject for another show. But, hey, look, we got to it's tradition now. What are we drinking? Are you jacked up on energy drinks again? I'm on water, so
I don't even need it. Here's the thing about me, Stacy, is that you and our listeners are probably starting to get to know. I mean, I got water tonight, too. I don't need energy drinks. I mean, I was up until 2 o'clock yesterday morning evaluating Georgia. I was looking at defensive linemen, linebackers they have. I was looking at different players. I hopped on to another podcast I do this morning at 7 a.m. I got like 3 hours of sleep. I went right into it. I threw up another article today on Draft Diamonds about, how, it doesn't take losing teams. It doesn't have to take that long. You don't have to have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20-year plan. You can actually turn things around quicker than that. So I put an article up there today on Draft Diamonds if you want to go look at it. And I know I could take any team in the NFL and turn them into a Super Bowl champion within the next year. And that's kind of the preface of the article, and I kind of unpack that and show how you can do that. But it's just like all day, and it's like we were talking about off air. There'll be some nights I'll wake up and I can't go back to sleep until I write the article. I mean, just all these thoughts will start going through my mind about Aaron Rodgers, and I'd just be like, I have to write. It's almost like it's just, and I get on paper that I can go back to sleep maybe for an hour, maybe not. But no, I don't need energy drinks. This is the way I naturally am. I can out dance, I can out party, I can outdo anything people half my age can do. If you could bottle me up, I'd be a zillionaire.
I love it. I love it, man. We'll keep it alive, keep it well. That's absolutely fantastic. So
Absolutely.
we're going
You
to
should
tap
see me
into
on the
that.
dance floor. You should see me on the dance floor. My wife and I, we close it down 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning out here in Key West. We close it down.
Oh, dude, I'm
Oh, yeah.
fast asleep. I'm fast asleep, man.
Fast asleep. Well, you can watch it on Facebook. You can see us dancing. You probably saw us last week. I mean, come on.
There you go, Daniel Kelly, folks. Go chase him. You
That's
can
right. I
find
got
him
my
through the Dirty
Deion
Pocket.
Sanders jersey on at the dance club. I mean, if you go into a dance club wearing a Deion Sanders jersey and Air Jordan, you better be able to dance.
Agreed.
I mean, you better be able to bring it.
That's a lot of swag, man. That's a lot of swag.
Hey, I tell you what, you should see me. If you think I have energy now, you should see me at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning with no sleep.
No desire, bud. I'm asleep. I am fast asleep dreaming about other things, man. You tear it up out there in Key West. Okay, well let's tap into that energy, man, because
Let's go.
You covered a big subject this week in one of your NFL Draft Diamond articles that I think it's time. It's time to do it. We're gonna land here for this entire episode, and it's this little subject called Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, unbelievable. This past week, they just absolutely imploded.
Interesting enough. You know how I talk about these articles and they just come to me and I have to get them out there. I can't sleep. I can't rest. I type 90 words a minute. That article actually was put on my heart to do the day before they played their last game, if you notice the date on it. And so I got that article out there, and then the next day, all this chatter started. Let's unpack it. Let's get into it. Patrick Mahomes, the $500 million man.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. So here's the thing. I'm going to be Mr. Data Cruncher guy, and I'm going to throw that in as we talk along through this. But I feel like your article and some of the combos you and I have had off the air, that there's a lot more nuance to what's going on with Patrick Mahomes right now after the first 7 games of this season. You make mention in this article, you and I have talked about it. We've talked about it on this podcast, that there's a lot more to playing quarterback. There's a lot more to athletics, period, than just numbers, right? Mm-hmm. But you made mention of something that you picked up on immediately, sitting gazillions of miles away on television last year during the Super Bowl when Patrick Mahomes came out of the tunnel. And I've said this to my kid for years. I said it about Kurt Warner when the Rams won in '99. There it is. There's my Rams mention, folks.
Oh, hey.
You knew I was going to squeak it in.
This Rams NFL pregame show brought to you by?
That's right, the Dirty Pocket. So, listen, you made a comment, and it's not a cliche. You said it's in the eyes.
Absolutely.
You picked up on it at the Super Bowl last year. Unpack that with us. What do you mean when you say, I could tell by looking into this man's eyes that something was different, and then they went on to lose a Super Bowl, and here we are. They're just getting rolled.
Absolutely, Stacy. I grew up, there was a quarterback that played for the Washington Redskins named Mark Rippon. I talk about this in my article, Super Bowl 26 MVP, back against Buffalo, back the year they won the last one. And I remember this, there was a game the Redskins were playing against the 49ers. And I remember making the comment to my grandmother, who watched all the games with me and was a big Redskins fan. And I took one look at Mark Rippon's eyes and I said, something's really wrong. Something's really off. And my grandma said, yeah, his eyes don't look right. And he threw 3 interceptions that day and they lost the game. And, Mark Rippon went on from there. He was never the same. He went on to bounce around to 4 different other teams for 4 years before he was out of the league. And, it's years later in 2018, I read an article online where Mark Rippon's come out. He's talked about how he's, dealt a lot of concussions. He's dealt with, trying to, thoughts of suicide. He's talked about how he was with prostitutes. These are his words. He's talked about how he dealt with just a real dark time in his life. And he came public with it to try to help others, I believe. That's just who he is. And, so I go back to the eyes, and it's interesting because Matt Millen, you remember the linebacker in the 49ers and the Raiders throughout the years, right? Matt Millen, I remember when I was a kid on NFL Films, he was talking about because he was on that 49ers team that faced Washington that day, and Mark Rippon. And he had said that, this is Matt Millen talking, not me, but he said, I took one look at Rip's eyes, and that's what they call him, Rip for short, for Rippon. He goes, I took one look at Rip's eyes, and I knew we had this game won. So that's kind of my background about the eyes. And, I've always believed that the eyes are, kind of like William Shakespeare, the quote, the eyes are the window to our soul. I've always believed that that's the case. And so I wasn't really looking for anything. My wife, Samantha, and I, we were at a sports bar here in Key West. We bought an admission to get into the sports bar. They had like a buffet and everything. We were sitting there going to watch the game. And all of a sudden I took one look at Patrick Mahomes, and this stuff is just showing to me, it just pops up. And I took one look in his eyes, and I turned to my wife, Samantha. I said, they're not going to win this game. And it just struck me the same way as Mark Rippon's eyes struck me back in, against the 49ers. And, the way that he played that game was an exact manifestation of what I saw in his eyes. And the next day, after they got crushed by Tampa, I came out on Facebook and talked about this, and I actually took a screenshot of my Facebook post so I can prove this. This is not something I'm making up. I showed that the date, February 12th, it's the actual post embedded in my article on Draft Diamonds I wrote last week about Patrick Mahomes, if you want to look it up. And, I talked about how his eyes are kind of glossy, kind of glassy. He didn't just look like he was all there. And it was, I said, listen, I feel that this is so serious that this could jeopardize his career. I mean, that's how kind of magnitude we were talking about. And, of course, the comments just flooded in. You're out of your mind. That's stupid. He's the franchise. He's a generational guy. He's a superhero. I mean, you name it. People just thought I was out of my mind. I got called every name in the book from A and Z, and especially from the Chiefs Nations and different things like that. And I don't blame people, because nobody wants to believe this. Nobody wants to believe that they make this kind of an investment in Patrick Mahomes, a $500 million, $503 million investment, and all of a sudden the party's over. Nobody wants to believe that. And so, of course, people would rather, use me as a pinata, a human pinata, play pin the tail on Daniel, opposed to look at the facts. But it's been interesting, Stacey, because what's happened, what I saw in his eyes that you alluded to at the Super Bowl in the tunnel when he was coming on the field has played itself out now over a course of weeks. And right now, as you talked about crunching the numbers, right now Patrick Mahomes' quarterback rating is the lowest it's been since his rookie season on ESPN 2017. He's averaging 1 to 2 interceptions a game. And I think for me, what really stuck out was the game against Washington. There was one play where I couldn't even believe what I was watching. It was a bobbled snap. He dropped back. They were in scoring position at the time, and he just threw like a pop fly. He just threw it straight up in the air as he was going down to the turf. And I was like, and it got intercepted. I was like, I have never in 40 years of watching a game seen a superstar quarterback make that kind of a decision. I'm like, what is he doing? Who is he throwing the ball to? It was just like a moment where he just threw it straight up in the air. It was unreal. You remember the play? I mean, it was.
I do. I absolutely remember the play. Yeah.
What did you think of it when you saw it?
It was nuts. My initial reaction to this stuff, it's kind of like the play in the Super Bowl, right, where he's going vertical Superman style, and then he chucks that ball 55 yards. It's all the no-look passing stuff. It's all the throwing into traffic and tight windows that we've become accustomed to with him. But to your point, that play kind of shows how badly that can go when you get outside of some of the basics of football. And I think that's what's happening to Mahomes. I've got my own theories, but I wanted to hear you out. When you're looking at him now, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're going all the way back to the Super Bowl, which you're correct. He was running for his damn life in that game. Mm-hmm. Now, Eric Fisher was out. He had offensive line problems. They've rebuilt the offensive line this season. But where do you think this went sideways? Do you think it was the Super Bowl when this started to show up? Do you think it was some of the games leading up to the Super Bowl? Because their playoff run wasn't overly dominant. And then my question for you is, as somebody who's been in an NFL organization, What is the weight of some of the distractions that Mahomes has faced? He's become a new father, right? Mm-hmm. He's got a little one now. His wife and his mother are becoming famous on Twitter during games. We've already talked about Zach Wilson and his mom, but maybe we need to be talking about Mahomes and his mom and his wife. And then, in what I thought is one of the worst things I've seen all year, watching his brother dance around at Sean Taylor's jersey and number ceremony for the Washington football team on TikTok that got him in hot water. Is this stuff starting to weigh him down, or do you think it really is football related? He is offensive line, new players. He's got the same core group of guys.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it all factors into the equation, right? It's like doing a math equation. You know, when you add up a bunch of different numbers, you get a result, and that's really what we're looking at. We're looking at a totality of a lot of different things, but I don't think that's what's causing it. I think going back to your earlier point there, Stacy, I first saw it at the Super Bowl. I didn't see it before then,
Okay.
and I'm just going to come out and say it. If I had to put money on it, or if I had to put an NFL job on it, and somebody said, okay, final answer, and they said, you want to use a lifeline, or I said, okay, a final answer, right? And I'd say, I think we're dealing with concussions. I think we're dealing with.
I got to tell you, I hadn't even remotely thought of that, but that hit on Sunday was.
Well, that's not the first one either. That's not the first one, because when you look into his eyes, they're glassy, they're glossed over. Something is not right upstairs. There's something going on inside him internally. That's because there is such a change and a switch that's happened, and that's what I do as a scout. That's scouting is really a science of human behavior. Okay, because when you're watching it like I do, these players, you're looking at baselines of behavior, almost like a psychologist. You're looking at how these guys play, or if it's completely out of character. Then you have to be an investigator and say, okay, why is it out of character? What's happened? These circumstances you alluded to, is this causing, is that causing? I really think that the Kansas City Chiefs should order a brain scan of Patrick Mahomes and see what's going on, because this is really scary stuff. Because if you go back to Aaron Hernandez, I was just talking to my wife about this tonight. When Aaron Hernandez committed suicide in his jail cell, they did an autopsy of his brain, and they had said in all the years they've been researching brains, they have never seen a brain that badly damaged as what Aaron Hernandez's brain was at that point. Truth be told, he should never have been tried in a regular circumstance if they would have gotten a brain scan from him, because he was so badly damaged with the CTE. These quarterbacks are taking such violent hits. I know I've talked about it. I've had a really hard heart against Aaron Rodgers for months on Draft Diamonds. Even that softened. When I saw him go off on the Chicago Bears fans, I said, time out. Something's wrong. I mean, Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago, absolutely. I think that's a real concussion issue. I think something's going on upstairs, because Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago got a concussion. He talked about this. If you look it up online, I think it was in 2018 or 2019. He said he momentarily lost vision.
Damn, I did not know that.
Yeah, and so you're dealing with these quarterbacks. You're dealing with violent collisions. My scouting mentor always tells me, he says, you're a fan, Danny. You're a fan. If you got on the field, they would kill you. And he's right. I mean, these guys can, they hit. You see it every Sunday. You see how hard they hit. I think we're dealing with a concussion issue. I think we're dealing with something extremely serious. That's the first. If I was running the Kansas City Chiefs, that's the first thing I would do at this point. Because when you look at Patrick Mahomes' career and you see someone ascending over 3-4 seasons and they're still very young, and all of a sudden they revert to something completely different they haven't been since their rookie season, something serious is going on. People just don't do that. And there's, the injuries and all this, something is going on. This guy is so talented, he can usually overcome deficiencies with the team. And there's just something is not right with Patrick Mahomes, and nobody's talking about, because we all gather at this modern-day Roman Coliseum called NFL Sunday. And we just watch these guys like Zach Wilson. They said 10 plays before his knee got hurt. They said, well, the play could have happened 10 plays before that. What is he doing on the field if the Jets even gave a damn about him? What is he doing on the field at that point if his knee's already hurt? Why do you keep a guy out there in a team that doesn't stand a chance, and then 10 plays later he gets hurt? There's got to be something here else going on. And that's all I'm suggesting with Mahomes, because for that radical of a change to occur in Patrick Mahomes, and not only that, but where he made that decision against Washington, when I saw him throw that pop fly, I said, something's really wrong. And guess what? I don't think he's going to snap out of it. I think it's going to get worse and worse from this point forward, unfortunately.
Well, Got to tell you, man, I didn't know that was in your bucket of theories, but that's interesting. That shot he took, and then he comes back into the game, it was absurd. And immediately, for anybody who's been watching the game for a while, you're sitting back going, yeah, this reminds you of the NBA. Nobody wants Michael Jordan to be hurt. Nobody wants Magic Johnson to be hurt. And Mahomes is must-see TV every time he lines up under center or in the shotgun. So, interesting theory. Here's the thing. Looking at his numbers, and then I'm going to throw my theory at you. He is still outplaying the league in several categories, which goes to your comment about his talent.
Absolutely.
You can't overcome brain injuries, folks. But if you're looking just at his talents, in his yards per throw, he's at 7.6. His touchdown rate is 6.5%. His traditional passer rating is right there at 97, 98. But here's where it gets weird to really the question on what's going on here. He's throwing interceptions on 3.2% of his passes, the highest rate of his career by far, and more than triple his rate of the past 2 seasons combined. He's just throwing picks. He's taking sacks on 4.8% of his dropbacks, also the highest rate of his career, and he's not facing a ton of... It's not like the offensive line has imploded. They've actually bolstered the offensive line in the offseason, and the running game has actually been pretty damn good. They're in the top 5 running teams. So this kind of leans into, and I got to tell you, for folks listening, we did not discuss this prior. I'm as interested in this theory as anybody. This kind of leans into what you're saying, that there's something just bizarre going on, that, quarterbacks go through ups and downs. Brady's had his streaks. Rodgers had his streaks. Favre had 2 seasons where he was, hovering at an 80 QBR, and he's in the Hall of Fame. This stuff happens, but it seems like he just fell off a cliff almost, and it really kind of lends itself to that interesting comment you just made about the concussions. It's not something I thought about. Here's my theory. I want to throw it at you. Okay. And since the Chiefs have drafted Patrick Mahomes, they've had a worse than average defense. They've never had a good defense when he was there. They were okay on a good day. They were never dominant. But this defense, and again, it's a team game, 11 on each side of the ball. This defense is putrid, man. It is so bad. It is historically bad. And we saw that on Sunday. They're on pace to give up 6.6 yards per play, which is the worst number by any single defense since Mahomes has been on the team. So the opposition is getting 6 to 7 yards a pop on first down. And I don't need to tell you, a former NFL guy, future NFL guy, that getting 7 yards a pop on first down is big business in the NFL.
Yeah, that moves the chains very fast, yeah.
Yeah, but they've got no pass rush. I don't know what's going on with Chris Jones and that whole. They've never been able to solve the situation at outside linebacker since they had the old guys there. The inside linebacking core is so bad. They're a meme now. I mean, they're a play action meme. Any quarterback that comes in there, even an average to below average guy, can run play action and torch the linebackers of the Kansas City Chiefs. Sorry if you're listening, guys. And then you look at the secondary, and outside of Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, each week teams are just picking a different guy to pick on. Daniel Sorensen was just burnt by the Buffalo Bills. They just ate them alive. Then you go to the Titans game, the more recent game, and L'Jarius Sneed is just getting torched. So it's like teams are taking their picks. So here's my theory to you. You're saying possible concussions or something that doesn't meet the eye. I'm throwing out there, is Patrick Mahomes, the gunslinger and gamer that he is he doing too much? Is he just trying to take this team on? Is he recognizing, and I saw this in the Rams when they went from Super Bowl champs 99 to 2000, 2001, all of a sudden the defense was miserable and they had to outscore people. Is Mahomes entering a game going, myself, Kelsey, Hill, we've got to outscore these guys? And that's why we're seeing the picks, and that's why we're seeing the fumbles, and that's why we're seeing these terrible passes. What say you? I mean, we got your theory on concussions, but does the defense play any role in this thing?
It can, and this is the interesting conversation that goes on in NFL buildings, is that, everybody has a theory when it comes to stuff like this. I have my theory, you have your theory, and we talk about stuff like this, and the job of the NFL team is to find out, okay, let's research this, let's look into this. That's why I said we need a brain scan, because it's sure it's possible. I mean, when you're talking about someone, what is he, 20, 23, 24 years old, how old is he?
Yeah, I think he's 24, isn't he?
24, right. Absolutely. But you're looking at someone who's 24. I mean, the weight of these situations is so heavy, and it can be so heavy on. I mean, I know that, at 21 years old or 24, if somebody would have handed me $500 million, I would have imploded. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, I'd implode right now.
I implode. That's awesome. Only in the dirty pocket.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did enough damage off $21,000 my first year with the New York Jets. Everyone says, "Oh, you were in the NFL. You must be a millionaire." No. I mean, I worked on staff with Parcells and Belichick. Those guys, you earn your stripes. Yeah, I mean, it's Belichick started his career getting hot dogs for Ted Marchibroda. I mean, everybody comes up the hard way with that regime. But I mean, I did enough damage off 21 grand. I mean, in New York, I mean, I can't imagine having access to the kind of money at that age that Mahomes has access to. You talk about all the pressures too with the family and everyone trying to piggyback off his success. And, now everyone's family's getting involved and they're dancing and tweeting and all this kinds of stuff. That can be a distraction. Yes. I mean, especially when his mother comes out and wants to redefine what an interception should and should not be. I saw this week. I'm like,
hilarious.
I'm like, what, is she part of the rules committee now? I mean, come on. These moms and these people are getting very heavily involved. Social media is to create a whole nother element to the game. We can get into another show. But I got into a couple battles with players last year in the Detroit Lions. The guys were like tweeting me. They're like, "What do you mean I didn't do this?" I'm like, "Well, turn on the tape." We'll get into a different day, a different episode. But it is possible that's weighing into it. But I don't like what I see in his eyes. I'm not, it could be part of it, what you're saying, Stacey, but I'm not liking it. I'm not seeing confidence. Do you remember a quarterback named Rick Meyer?
I don't want to reveal too much on here, but I just spoke to him 2 days ago, and he is going to be on the Gridiron Icon podcast, folks. Do I know Rick Meyer? Yes, I do. Notre Dame, Seattle Seahawk, absolutely.
Hey, what a coincidence! I just bring up that tonight, right? Just on
Thanks
the blue.
for that plug. Yeah, Thanks for the plug.
No problem. We didn't even talk about it. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, the stuff goes in my mind. I just have to get it out. Right. But Rick Meyer, okay, number one draft choice of the Seattle Seahawks, right, back in the day when he went out there. And then, of course, his career kind of collapsed. He ended up playing, bouncing around a little bit. He ended up going, I think, to Green Bay. Well, Bill Parcells' best friend at that time when he was the head coach of the Jets, who hired me, was Ron Wolf, who was the GM of the Green Bay Packers, the legendary GM of the Packers back in the day. So Parcells went to practice in Green Bay. They stayed at each other's house. They're best friends. And long story short, Rick Meyer ended up playing with the Jets. We traded for him. And I remember, I got on my desk to go down the hallway to get a Gatorade from the coaches, they had this refrigerator with these Gatorades in. And I walked out the corner of my office, and I walked down the hallway, and lo and behold, Rick Meyer walked past me, right? And right in the hallway. It was like a Forrest Gump moment, and he walked past me, and I looked him in the eyes, and he literally looked like a deer in headlights. The eyes, there was nothing, and that's the way he played. And so when I look at Mahomes' eyes, when a quarterback loses his confidence, I don't care if he can throw the ball 80. I mean, a lot of these guys, I'm sure Jamarcus Russell can still throw a football down the block. But when you lose your confidence, and the confidence, we're seeing it with Jared Goff. When you lose the confidence, the rest of it goes too. And when I look in Patrick Mahomes' eyes, I do not see the confidence. And in 40 years, I have never seen a quarterback regain it once it's gone.
Yeah,
the game
just stole my thunder, man.
The game is won or lost from the neck up. That's what they say in scouting. And the eyes are not right, and the eyes are the window to the soul. We're going to find out something in the near future, is my prediction about Patrick Mahomes. You're going to hear this first in America. We're going to find out something about Patrick Mahomes that is going to shock America, is what I'm going to predict. There's going to be something that's going to come out, because this is too big of a change of behavior. It needs to be explained, and one way or another it will.
Okay, bookmark this episode, folks. I believe you. I mean, we're just finding out this past weekend through the Jared Goff, Matt Stafford soap opera that Goff was playing with a busted up foot through the Super Bowl and needed surgery right after the game. I mean, you're right. This stuff kind of flushes out, and I think that it's been a weird drop for what is easily the most gifted guy at that position. We all love him playing. He's a good kid.
Yeah, nothing about that, yeah.
But you and I both know also becoming a dad changes your life. I mean, you can't minimize that stuff. He's a dad now, a very wealthy dad. But you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to ask you, can he get it back? I personally think the Chiefs are in for a rough go of this. I think he's going to get by on talent this year, but I'm going to take you at your word, man, and say, okay, let's see what comes out on Mr. Mahomes. Well, I think the Chiefs are in trouble.
Right. Here's the problem. Is I saw on Facebook there's a petition going around for Mahomes to be benched.
Good grief!
Right. But I mean,
so
but I'm saying this stuff is happening in the backdrop. It's just that it's going on around the situation. I've also seen that. I love Andy Reid. Andy Reid almost hired me in 2012 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Absolutely, and people are talking about maybe he's on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs. So this is going to take on a life of its own as this progresses. If the Chiefs can find a way to piece together a season and make the playoffs, well, all is fair in love and war. It'll kind of probably go under the bridge. But if this thing implodes, it's going to get really ugly. And
I agree, man.
And I don't know what's going to happen out there. I mean, I really don't.
Look, there's nobody, including even you, that can talk me into believing that this Kansas City Chiefs defense can stop the Bills, can stop the Chargers, could even stop the Browns, can stop the upstart Cincinnati Bengals, could even stop the Colts when Wentz is playing well. This is an abysmal defense, which means that Mahomes, and if he is dinged and not talking about it, which I'm a little surprised because his wife loves Twitter, if he is dinged and not playing about it, he's going to have to play out of his mind through it to get this team to where they need to go. Well, I just don't see it.
The concern, too, briefly, Stacey, is that the concussions, and you're talking about all the different, if that's what's happening, if you're talking about the interceptions, it only would make logical sense that maybe he's not seeing the field right. Maybe his vision is somehow being impaired. Maybe something is going on upstairs where he's not seeing the field, or he's not, not seeing the rush, or he's just not seeing properly because his eyes just do not. If you look at a picture, if you pull up pictures of Patrick Mahomes in the past, and you pull up a picture of what he looks like now, or on my article, it's like two different sets of eyes. It's like he's there, but nobody's home.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue it. I've been a big believer, as you see it, especially with quarterbacks in the eyes. Although I'll tell you, even some of the shots from the game this past weekend at Travis Kelce's face, of the Honey Badger's face, you could just see they're reeling. And Mahomes is the ringmaster. He's their Michael Jordan, and the rest of them are Scottie Pippins and this other stuff. And he looks like he's in trouble. So I'm rooting for him. Good kid, great for the game. Yeah. He's a brand new dad. Interesting theories, man. Okay, that's where we're going to leave it. There's a couple of factors that could be playing into that, but let's take a closer look at the Chiefs as the season goes on. So rapid fire as we close out this latest controversial and fun Dirty Pocket episode. Couple of quick picks this week. It seems like the last 2 weeks have been kind of down in terms of matchups. This week isn't all that exciting either. And at the time of recording, not sure we're going to be able to pop this on before the Thursday night game. So we'll take a couple of others that I think are interesting storylines. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Baker says he may play. Tomlin's yelling at reporters who are asking him dumb questions about USC. Who do you like in this game? Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Whoa.
Cleveland.
Not an ounce of hesitation. Now, are you calling Cleveland if Baker plays or if Case Keenum plays? Oh, here comes the Case Keenum love. Here we go.
I do like him. I do.
So do I.
I've always liked him. I think it's a biggest mistake the Minnesota Vikings have made in the last decade by letting him get away. The chemistry was great up there when he was there. I think Cleveland, I don't really see I don't really see a team emerging from the AFC quite now. I don't know about you, but I'm going to come out there and say I think we're going to see the Cleveland Browns be that team.
God, I think that'd be fun as hell.
I think we're going to see that be the team. I think we're going to see the Cleveland Browns be that team that's going to emerge. I also said the Colts could be one of those teams. There's opportunity for someone to kind of come into that scene and take control of it. And, I'm taking Cleveland or Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I think Pittsburgh's in trouble.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree. I like the Browns, too, even with Case Keenum. I think they're ballers. They're scrappers.
They built a nice team there. They've done a nice job.
They really have on both sides of the ball, and I think they got the steal in the draft. The kid from Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. I said pre-draft that he was going to become the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. And this guy is all over the field. He's playing at an extremely high level. The Dallas Cowboys are fools for taking Micah Parsons over this guy. Micah Parsons is all hype. Our guy JOK, man, up in Cleveland, he's the real deal. They did a real nice job up there on a lot of different levels. And my hat's off to Mr. and Mrs. Haslam, the owners of the Cleveland Browns, who sent me a letter in 2017. I published today, in fact, that letter, because they understand what it takes to win. They got outside the box. They brought in Paul DePodesta. They brought in Andrew Barry, general manager. They took a lot of heat back in 2017 for the Moneyball thing. And, of course, they didn't win a game that year. They came back to it a second time. They were 11-5 last year. They're 4-3 now. I think Cleveland set themselves up for a nice run here. And don't be surprised if you see Cleveland deep into the playoffs, or do I dare say it? Super Bowl?
Oh, man, that's bold, because I think that they might move OBJ before the November 2nd deadline.
I don't know if they will.
Teaser. We'll see what happens there, but I got a gut feeling on that one. Okay, moving along. The other matchup that I decided to focus on for what is going to become an obvious reason, because it ain't a marquee matchup. The Detroit Lions, the team you cover for Sports Illustrated Weekly, versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Is this the Lions' best shot at getting a win this year?
It could be. It could be. I know we talked about this offline. It could be, but I think the Eagles got enough juice to pull this one out.
Oh, he's picking the Eagles. Okay, you know what? I'm going against the grain. I'm picking the Lions. I am, and I'm not even ashamed to say it. I spoke about it on the Gridiron Icon podcast earlier today. I like Dan Campbell, and I am totally rooting for that guy. I love old school football coaches. He doesn't have the perfect hair comb or sitting in a penthouse with no socks wearing $2,000 loafers on NFL draft night.
Who are you
like
talking
a lot
about?
of the guys, NFC West, Matt LaFleur. Okay. He is old school football. He loves his team. He's emotional. I am digging that dude, and I'm taking the Lions this week, coming off a near upset of the Rams, at least through three quarters. I want to see them put something together for Dan and see that guy get a game ball. Lions fans, I think they're going in the right direction, and if you want to follow the Lions, follow Daniel Kelly, Sports Illustrated. I think there's a lot of great stuff there.
Thank you.
I wanted to take an hour and ask you what you thought about Penei Sewell deciding he wanted to get into a bit of a pushing match with Aaron Donald. I tipped my hat to the kid. I didn't like it, but, man, he clearly wasn't afraid. There was a moment in that game where they were grabbing each other's face masks, and he stood up to Aaron, and I thought that was pretty ballsy, man, for a rookie. So Lions are going in the right direction, man. Okay, we split on that one. Folks, can't thank you enough for joining us here on the Dirty Pocket. We're just getting started. What are we, 8 episodes in to the Dirty Pocket. It's a crazy combo of us two. Follow us, if you would, on all of the major social media pieces: Facebook, The Dirty Pocket; Twitter, The Dirty Pocket. We have a great new forum for talking football. We promise not to throw 15-yard taunting penalties on Facebook. It's called the Blindside Blitz. Find it on our Facebook page. Come there, talk some trash with us, give us your opinion. As long as we're respectful and don't tread into ugly stuff, we have some fun trash talking. So thanks again, my friend. Great episode, great deep dive on Mr. Mahomes, and look forward to chasing this thing with you.
Absolutely. Hey, great show. Thank you so much for having me, as always. And everybody enjoy the football this week. And it's always unpredictable what's going to happen. We think we know. As Jim Mora used to say, you remember that commercial? You think you know, but you just don't know, and you never will. That's what Jim Mora said. And so enjoy the games, enjoy the surprises, and we'll definitely watch this stuff unfold, like you said.
Best damn game on earth, man. Thanks
Sure
again,
is.
folks. Join us here on The Dirty Pocket. We'll see you next week.
Take care.